Emerson Phillips joined by Carey Rich here on GamecockCentral.com. We're talking about the South Carolina men's basketball victory over Oral Roberts, 84-66, the final tonight in the second game of the year for the South Carolina men's team. And Carey Chatkevicius had a career-high 22 points tonight. Chatkevicius had 13 rebounds. Those two very solid tonight. And Dwayne Notice with 18 points. He continues to be fantastic for this Gamecock team, now 2-0.
Well, good win for this basketball team. You're talking about a veteran basketball team in Oral Roberts, with a really, really good backcourt. And I thought the veterans played like veterans. They played like experienced players, and it showed tonight. They led the way, and it made it a little bit easier for everybody else just to fall in line.
All right, plenty to talk about from this game tonight, Carey. First of all, it was the same starting five tonight as it was Saturday night in the win over Norfolk State. It was Thornwell and Dozier, and it was Carrera, Chatkevicius, and Chatkevicius. So the same starting five here tonight. But tonight, a minute and 7 seconds into the game, Dozier leaves. Coach Martin sends in Marcus Stroman, and Dozier only got 12 minutes tonight. Why do you figure that is?
Mainly because he's a freshman, and defensively he's having a hard time adjusting. And in fairness to him, when you don't play man-to-man in high school, it's very difficult to learn it at this stage of the game, especially when you're talking about the principles. But selfishly, as a former basketball player and as a guy that's been through it a little bit, I like to see him play through some of those mistakes just a little bit on the defensive end. And I understand what Frank is doing. He's coaching them hard. He's making them understand how important playing defense is. And it's been somewhat of a challenge for Dozier at 6'7" to have to guard the quickest guy on the floor, which is the opposing point guard. But just selfishly, I like to see him play through some of those mistakes just a little bit. You got the ultimate safety net in the veteran guys playing. I like to see him play through some of those mistakes just a little bit, because regardless of what it looks like right now, Emerson, you're going to need him come January. If not, you have the same personnel that you had last year with the same issues, same problems.
All right, Carey. Dwayne Notice comes off the bench, provides an immediate spark for the second game in a row. He seems through two games to be the best three-point shooter the Gamecocks have, and maybe the best scorer.
Well, and that's why Frank is playing him off the ball so much more this year. He's playing off the ball, in the words of Frank, he's wired to score. So, he doesn't have to worry about initiating offense. He doesn't have to worry about assisting or making plays for other people. He is the best shooter, and he's playing with confidence now. He's playing like an SEC basketball player.
Carrera played solid again tonight. He's consistent, and I like Carrera because he's an effort and energy guy. Seems like he's the emotional leader.
Well, I've said it from day one, he's the gut of this basketball team. He's the heartbeat of this basketball team. And, sometimes he's a little bit too wired. But, when you have a guy like that plays with that type of effort, then you can live with some of the mistakes that he's going to make. But he's really good. He's a gut of this basketball team. He's the heartbeat. And he'll always play with that fire and emotion that Frank is looking for.
Yeah, he talks a lot on the floor. He's very vocal, talking to his teammates and trying to keep things organized. And, Carey, I wanted to talk about Sendarius Thornwell a little bit. He seems to have been very patient so far through two games. He's been willing to let the game come to him a little bit. Not necessarily looking to score or lead, but he's out there doing his thing, and he's been steady and solid through two games.
Yeah, and I do think he was somewhat aggressive offensively, 3 for 15. But the one thing that stands out to me more than anything, as a former point guard, 7 assists, 0 turnovers. And that's a guy that's making plays with the basketball when much of the defense of the opposing team is centered around stopping him. It was good to see him have that type of impact on the team, especially when you get 7 assists, 0 turnovers. That's efficiency with the capital E.
Yeah, so he didn't have a great shooting night at all tonight. I didn't realize he had shot the ball that poorly, but no turnovers and 7 assists. So even on an off shooting night, Sendarius Thornwell showing his veteran presence for this Gamecock men's team. Carey, a couple of other thoughts here. Justin Mackey didn't get a lot of time tonight, but I like his role as a role player. He brings some athleticism to the floor when he gets in the game.
Well, he was forced to get in and try to make something happen offensively. You saw that one lull this team had there towards the end of the first half. They missed 7 out of 8 shots against that zone. And that's been the one thing that served as this basketball team's Achilles heel, not being able to break or crack that zone and make perimeter shots. In the second half, they were able to do that. And Justin is one of the most capable shooters on the basketball team, which is why we saw him get so much time there in the first half.
All right, Carey, a couple of big men coming off the bench. The first two bigs in off the bench were Silva and Cobb. Again, those two contributed Saturday night in the win over Norfolk State, and it looks like they're going to have a role moving forward.
Cobb was 3 for 3. It's always good to see a freshman get his feet wet and have an opportunity to have some success. I saw him after he made one basket. He pumped his fist, and that was good to see. Silver played like a freshman tonight, and that's going to happen. It doesn't matter unless you're a freshman at North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, and even those guys struggle. They're just surrounded by so many talented basketball players. You can hide and you can cover it up a little bit. But tonight he played like a freshman, and he had 4 quick fouls, and that's the biggest adjustment for high schoolers, understanding how to defend, how to play defense at this level without fouling.
All right, South Carolina now 2-0 after 84-66 win over Oral Roberts tonight. The Gamecocks will play again in a 6 o'clock tip-off this Friday against DePaul. That'll be part of the Paradise Jam in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And Carey, the Gamecocks will play 3 games down there. Talk about that field a little bit and what the Gamecocks can expect to see coming up starting Friday.
DePaul is the first team up, and new coach, so you're talking about a new team, and again, South Carolina's experience should play a big role in this team, going over and having some success. And just talking to some of the coaches, I can tell you that they're not going over just to win 1 or 2 games. They're going over with the thoughts of winning this tournament. And I think by having a lot of success in this tournament, it would go so far when it comes to this basketball team and its confidence. I think it's key for this team to get off to a really good start confidence-wise, and getting it done over there certainly would help.
Carey, is it strange seeing the Gamecocks having such a deep bench? I talked with some Gamecock fans earlier this week, and they said they couldn't remember the last time the Gamecocks had the depth that they've got this year, and it's good to see.
They look like a basketball team because in that depth, not only do you have capable players, but you have size, you have athleticism, you have guys that bring different things to the table. But it is good, and it should be this way in year number 4. Now, year number 1, year number 2, you're trying to build, you're trying to construct. But when you have a program in place, a coach in place for 4 years, you should begin to see some of those things in place, such as depth.
Carey, appreciate your time as always. Thanks for joining us here on Gamecock Central Radio.
Thank you so much, Emerson.
Carey Rich, 84-66, Gamecocks a winner tonight over Oral Roberts. And Carey and I will have more reaction as the Gamecock men's basketball season rolls on here. South Carolina now 2-0, and they got DePaul on a 6 o'clock tip Friday night in the U.S. Virgin Islands, part of the Paradise Jam. And Carey and I will have more on Gamecock men's basketball here on GamecockCentral.com.